Dream cards where your fantasy bookings come true.
Okay, Donnie, we're ready for Dream Card number 2 in the series, and we'll call this one the Wrestling Life Support Random Rumble, because we can't use Royal Rumble, and it's really random. It's mostly really awesome wrestlers and stuff, but they're kind of random. There's no rhyme or reason to it. As far as the rules for this one, just like the Badass Crockett Cup, we're going to play this pretty loose. You know, it's a podcast about a fictional event. We're good. We don't have to be too much of a stickler on the rules here. I gave Donnie 29 wrestlers, not 30. Donnie gets to pick the 30th entrant in spot number 30. It can be any wrestler, celebrity, whatever he wants. He can do it. That's his call. But he had to build a Rumble and craft a Rumble that's exciting, that's amazing, that, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, that lives up to like the 92 Rumble with these 29 guys that I randomly selected. So it's going to be really, really cool. I'm going to go through the 29 guys now. Donnie's going to save the 30th. This is not their order of entrance. This is just me reading off who is going to be in the Rumble, just like you would know most of the entrants in any Rumble for any particular year. So, WLS community, I will read off the 29 entrants that you know in the Random Rumble 2020. The first entrant named is ECW's version of Matt Bourne. That's Born Again. So we all know Born Again, love Born Again. He only had a handful of matches in ECW, but we know Matt Bourne won numerous regional titles and such. But the evil doink version, the had enough with the dumb gimmick version of Matt Bourne, that's Born Again. After that, we have from the Four Horsemen, 3-time NWA TV champion, a 2-time NWA World Tag Team champion, an NWA US champion, a WWF Tag Team champion. Yes, I'm talking about Tully Blanchard. Next, we have a man that truly needs no introduction, but I'm going to give one anyway. He was WCW's first Triple Crown winner. He won the WCW World title 6 times. He won the NWA World title 8 to 10 times, depending on how many you count as accurate and true. He won the NWA TV title, WWE Tag Team titles, the Intercontinental title. He's won the World title in the WWF twice. And most importantly for today, he is the winner of the 1992 Royal Rumble. That is, from the Four Horsemen, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. After that, we have PWI's 1994 Rookie of the Year and the true master of the Chokeslam, 911. We have a WCW TV champion, a WWE US champion. This man won multiple titles in a couple very prominent UK promotions like All-Star Wrestling and the Catch Wrestling Association. He is the tough, badass Irish bastard Fit Finlay. Then we go to a AWA World and Tag Team champion, a man that's held the WCW US and tag titles, and probably most notably, a 2-time WWF Intercontinental champion. He is Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. Then we go to a more modern wrestler. This man is a tag team specialist. He's won titles in AEW, Ring of Honor, and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. We're talking about Scorpio Sky. Then representing the Midnight Express, the 3-time WCW and NWA Tag Team Champion, a 3-time NWA US Tag Team Champion, and he also won the WCW TV title. That's beautiful Bobby Eaton. Also representing the Midnight Express, won very similar titles, the NWA World Tag title, a 3-time NWA US Tag titles, also captured tag team titles in Smoky Mountain and the USWA. I'm talking about Sweet Stan Lane. And now also representing the Midnight Express, a former AWA Tag Team Champion, NWA World Tag Team Champion, and also won the North American Tag Team titles in the World Wrestling Council down in Puerto Rico. We're talking about Loverboy Dennis Condrey. After Condrey, we're going to move down and we're going to the inventor of the Dragon Sleeper and the Dragon Suplex, a 6-time IWGP champion. He won the NWA World title, a 5-time IWGP Tag Team champion. He won world titles in the UWA, Super Grade Tag League champion. He won the G1 Climax. He won the Karl Gotch Cup. He's won every specialty event you could think of, which hopefully gives him an advantage here, and that's the Dragon, Tatsumi Fujinami. The next guy has a list of titles. I can't go through all of them. Literally, it's 30 or 40. Some of the big ones, though, include the TNA World TV and Tag Team titles, as well as a 5-time X Division champion in TNA. He's won the King of the Mountain, the Super X Cup, the Gauntlet for the Gold, the Turkey Bowl, the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. He won the WWE US title. He was an NXT champ. He won tag titles in Noah. He was the Ring of Honor World and Pure Champion. He won titles in 0-1. He's won so many flipping titles. We're talking about Samoa Joe. The next guy, everybody in the great state of Texas will know because he's an 8-time NWA Texas heavyweight title champ. He's an 8-time NWA Texas champion. He won the NWA World Tag Team titles, 2-time NWA Texas Tag titles. He won the World 6-Man titles in the NWA as well twice, and was the All Japan All Asian Tag Team champion. The Yellow Rose of Texas, the late great David Von Erich. The next entrant is a former IWGP champion. Oh yeah, he also won 6 World Wrestling Federation titles and 6 World Championship Wrestling World titles. Also won a couple tag belts in the WWE, and also is a two-time Royal Rumble winner in 91 and 92, the immortal Hulk Hogan. Next is a 5-time ECW World Champion and Tag Champion. He won the WEW World Tag Team titles out in FMW, won the TNA Hard 10 tournament. He's a King of the Death Match from XPW champion. We're talking about the best entrance in professional wrestling, the Sandman. And though Hogan won the Rumble twice, we also have a guy that won it 3 times. He also won a King of the Ring. He also won titles in WCW and a 6-time WWE World Champion, won the IC title twice, 4-time Tag Champion. He is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Next, we have the monster of Lucha Underground, one of their first champions. He is also a guy that won titles in AAA and Wrestling Society X and the IWA. We're talking about Mil Muertes. Next, we're going to actually have WWF's first ever Triple Crown winner, a man that won the WWF World title, the Intercontinental title, the tag titles. He also won a handful of titles in Puerto Rico as well in World Wrestling Council. We're talking about Pedro Morales. Next is the 2000 Royal Rumble winner, an 8-time WWE World Champion, also added another 2 WCW World titles, the WWE version of that, won the Intercontinental title, won the tag titles on multiple occasions, won tag titles in USWA. We're talking about The Rock. Similar to Samoa Joe, a guy that probably has one of the longest list of title reigns in all of wrestling. He was the first ever AEW World Champion. He won the NWA World Middleweight title, the CMLL version, as well as the ECW TV, the IWGP Intercontinental. He won the Cruiserweight and TV titles in WCW. In the WWE, he was the undisputed world champion, a 9-time Intercontinental champion. He won the US title, the European, the Hardcore, 7-time tag champions, won tag titles over in Japan and War as well. We're talking about the Painmaker, Lionheart, Y2J, whatever name you want to use, Chris Jericho. Next, we have a 3-time WWF World Champion, hardcore champion, and really hardcore icon, a tag team title holder in the WWF 8 times, WCW, ECW, IWA Japan, World Class, the USWA, the CWA. He won the King of the Death match, the famous one, the Kawasaki Dream IWA King of the Death match in 95 by beating Terry Funk. He won the TNA World title. He's won the Legends title. He is Cactus Jack. Next, we have a former WWF Intercontinental Champion and WCW US Champion. He was an NWA World Tag Team Champion. He won the World Class World title and also won an untelevised 20-man Royal Rumble in Hartford, Connecticut back in 1988. We're talking about Ravishing Rick Rude. Next, we have a guy that won every major title you can think of, not in the WWF, the NWA World title, the TV title, the WCW World title 6 times, the tag titles 3 times. He won Battle Bowl, the King of Cable, the Iron Man tournament. He won the Crockett Cup. He's the European Cup. He is the Icon Steen. The next wrestler is a former AWA World Champion, Stampede International Tag Team Champion. He had a great reign as the WCW TV Champion and a 3-time WWF Tag Team Champion. That is Rick the Model Martel. The next wrestler started out winning the North American title 6 times in Stampede, but then went on to make his name in the WWF, winning the World Heavyweight title 5 times, twice an Intercontinental Champion. He won the US title. He won the World Tag Team titles twice. He co-won a Royal Rumble, so that could give him an advantage here. He's a 2-time King of the Ring winner, Middle East Cup champion, the second ever WWF Triple Crown champion, and also went on to win 2 world titles in WCW and 4 U.S. titles and a tag title. This is Bret the Hitman Hart. The next wrestler is a former GWF North American champion, a Mid-South North American champion, a Mid-South TV champion, and tag team champion. He won the USWA Unified Heavyweight title, and he won the WCW World Tag Team titles with his partner Ron Simmons of Doom. This is Hacksaw, the Natural, Butch Reed. And our final three, the final 3 that you'll know going into the Royal Rumble. This man is a NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, and he never lost the title. That is the incomparable, the galactic power himself, Lasertron. The next wrestler is maybe internationally the most famous in the whole list. Yeah, he at least rivals Hogan and The Rock. He's the first true international Lucha Libre star and acting wrestling crossover, the 1983 Kurikan Hall Heavyweight Battle Royal Champion, which should give him an advantage today. He's, I think, held the IWA and WWA heavyweight titles for like 50 years. So many regional titles to count. He is the man of 1,000 masks, Mil Máscaras. And the last wrestler that you're going to know going into the Random Rumble as a 2-time AWA World Heavyweight Champion. He won the TV and tag titles in WCW. He won the tag team titles in the WWF. And most importantly, he is a former NWA Western States Heritage Champion, because for some reason, Pittsburgh must be considered. It is Western Pennsylvania, I guess. He is the living legend, Larry the Cruncher Zbyszko. And so those are your 29 entrants that will be in this Rumble that Donnie has to book cohesively and with drama and intrigue, and then we're all going to love it. So any quick thoughts, Donnie? What did you think of the list overall? Were you scared? Did you like it? What were your thoughts overall?
Probably glad I didn't have to hear all those details before I booked it, because it probably would have been a more intimidating task being reminded of all the titles, championships, and events these guys have been involved in. So, yeah, I think it worked out quite well to not hear that until now.
Great. And like we mentioned, the 30th entrant will be yours and yours alone. Now, for those that listen to our Badass Crockett Cup, you knew I threw a little curveball right before we started to Donnie. He doesn't know what I'm about to say. Last time I had an alternate bout that was built in, that he had to decide who won this alternate bout, and that team could, and they ended up impacting the tournament, could be booked in the tournament due to an injury or anything like that. So that was the Headhunters. They ended up actually having an impact on the tournament. So for this event's curveball, you never have an event that's just the Royal Rumble. You have an undercard. So I'm going to give you 5 undercard matches, and you have to tell me who wins and how they win, any type of details that you want to give. We don't have to spend more than a few seconds on it. But these are the 5 undercard matches that are going to lead into the Royal Rumble. I thought it'd be a good kind of icebreaker, get the creative juices flowing and everything. So you don't know these matches, so you just got to let me know who you think is going to win and how the finish would be booked. Cool?
All right.
Awesome. So the opening the contest in the first ever Wrestling Live Support Random Rumble, it's an interesting one. You talk about historic rivalries. Though I don't think these guys ever wrestled, they do represent maybe the most noted rivalry in the history of the world, the color red against the color blue. That's right. We have the Amazing Red against the Blue Meanie.
All right. So in this one, I think Blue Meanie comes in doing his full comedy act and everything. Amazing Red, not so much. He's not a big comedy guy. Little man versus big man type of match. And I think in the end, Amazing Red wins with a small package type or schoolboy type of move, I should say, after some top rope maneuvers, and best he can do against somebody like Blue Meanie.
So the Amazing Red gets the win. So the next match is going to pit 2 of the most famous Royal Rumble moments, and that is the Warlord against Bushwhacker Luke.
This match probably happened along the way a few times, maybe at some house show somewhere, but again, Bushwhacker Luke maybe attempts to do some comedy type of things in the Warlord, but the Warlord wins in probably less than 4 minutes, I would say, with a power move, probably a power slam.
Cool. So this one is an awesome one. So we have one kind of gimmick match in the undercard, and this is a one that I would pay a lot of money to see. We're calling this the first ever WLS Demolition Yard match. It's going to take place out of the arena in a demolition derby type dirt, infield of a racetrack. There's going to be a lot of smashed up cars that they can use. There's no ring, so the falls will have to happen on the dirt or in a car anywhere. And it is 3 wrestlers going up against each other in the Demolition Yard match. It is the Masked Superstar against Repo Man against Kona Crush. So the 3 members of Demolition and other personalities in a Demolition Yard match. How does this one go?
Wow. That's one I think I would pay to see myself.
Yep.
Masked Superstar has to take this one after getting the pin on Repo Man. I think Crush, he's from the Demolition Yard, apparently a Demolition Yard in Hawaii, surprises everyone and does not do too well on this one, but the Masked Superstar ends up winning it.
I would feel Repo Man was actually my pick. I thought because he would just feel at home, with all the cars. He probably repossessed some of those cars. So the Masked Superstar gets the win here.
Masked Superstar might have been pissed for even being placed in such a match, so he'd just be so brutal in that. I think he couldn't lose.
He's very angry. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the next match is a tough one, and this is truly a match that I wish we could go in a time machine and create, because this would be the coolest match in the history of the world. On one side, you have Harley Race and Dr. D. David Schultz, and they're going up against the team of Haku and Bad News Brown.
Wow.
So Harley Race and David Schultz against Haku and Bad News Brown.
Yeah, I would say Harley and Dr. D take this one after Bad News once again walks out on his partner, because he does that in every match, except Haku fights back and they end up just actually, but Harley and Dr. D win by count out because Haku and Bad News just brawl to the back, and nobody's taking a loss in this one.
I like that. I think this would be one of the coolest matches of all time.
Agreed.
So the last one before we go into the Rumble, this one has a little bit of an angle leading into our event here. So fans, you have to understand this piece. Go listen to our Crockett Cup of all the badass tag teams. You'll understand the champion, the one that won the tournament, was the team of Big Bad and Dangerous. That's Big Van Vader and Bam Bam Bigelow. They were crowned our champions. So we're going to say that they're the reigning, defending WLS badass tag team champions. There was a team that got really pissed that they didn't make the tournament. They didn't even make the alternate bout. And that is one of the most notable hardcore teams of all time. The first ever FMW Brass Knuckles tag team champions, the team of Atsushi Onita and Tarzan Goto, guys that will blow each other up literally. And there's scars and bloodiness and just whatever to prove it. They were pissed. So they were able to come in and finagle a title match, the first defense of the WLS Badass Tag Team Championships. You have Vader and Bigelow against Onita and Goto in a match for the titles with no disqualifications.
I think in this scenario, Onita and Goto would actually win the match and win the titles because it's their domain, and they would bring everything, probably the kitchen sink too. So yeah, Onita and Goto would actually win.
So before we even get to the main event, the Royal Rumble, we have new tag team champions. No successful defenses for Vader and Bigelow. The new champions, Atsushi Onita, Tarzan Goto. Wow, shocker already.
Yeah, I think a rematch will be booked right away. I mean, because Vader and Bigelow would want it without the hardcore rules. So this could carry on for quite a while in a variety of different matches.
Very, very cool. So with that being said, we're going to start the Random Rumble. So, Donnie, tell us what superstars drew number 1 and number 2.
So at number 1, we have a man who has experience going long distances in Royal Rumbles, and he's going to need it because he's the first guy in this one, and that's Rick the Model Martel.
Nice. Yes, he always seems to last a long time in Rumbles.
Yep. Number 2, he's going to be taking on somebody who's, well, he'd probably claim he'll be perfect in Rumbles, and I'm talking about Mr. Perfect.
He did not draw the perfect number.
No, he did not.
So real quick question for you. Rick Martel, is he the model? Is he Rick Martel WCW? Is he Strikeforce Rick Martel? Which Rick Martel are we going with?
He is the model from early 90s era. That's the time when he really had the great Royal Rumble runs. Did pretty well for himself.
We're going to get some good entrance music here early on. Yeah. We're going to get the model arrogance music, and we're going to get of course, the iconic perfect music. That's awesome.
Exactly. I think every guy in this Rumble needs to have entrance music because that was a major upgrade when they finally decided the guys needed music for the Rumble.
100%. Could you imagine the 92 Rumble if it had music?
Oh, man. Even better than best Rumble ever. Could be even better.
Yeah, I know.
So Perfect and Martel start off with some technical wrestling pretty much, both playing it pretty safe because they know they're the first two guys and they need to last all the way through number 30. So nothing too major here before the countdown clock pops up. And number 3 is Butch Reed.
Wow. The natural coming in. So add a little beef in there.
Yeah, Butch Reed is making no friends in this match, attacks both guys, the beatdown, nothing too special here either.
Which Butch Reed is it? Do we have blonde hair on this Butch Reed, or is this the more famous Butch Reed?
No, we're going no blonde hair because as tough as necessary, toughness is necessary in this match. So
gotcha.
We're going the more tough Butch Reed. I imagine maybe the '89 NWA version where he showed up. It's pretty much the same as the natural, but minus the blonde hair.
Love it.
Countdown clock up once again, and Scorpio Sky thrown in the mix. Totally different generation. So, yeah, he's hitting the ring. And, again, no friends here. So it's all 4 guys having an all-out brawl pretty much so far.
So we have Martel and Perfect, Butch Reed and Scorpio Sky just in there doing Rumble things, just beat each other up, trying to make sure they don't get eliminated.
Yep, there you go. Countdown clock up once again, and number 5 is Born Again. So Matt Bourne and his semi-doink persona, I guess you could say, is pretty much just acting crazy like he did. He's laughing a little bit, doesn't run to the ring too fast, gets in and just joins in the action pretty much when he does hit the ring. So we've got a 5-way brawl going on right now pretty much.
Gotcha.
As the clock strikes again, things get a little bit crazier as familiar music hits, especially the ECW fans, and 911 hits the ring.
Oh, I think I know what's coming.
He hits the ring, and right away we have choke slams to Rick Martel, choke slam to Mr. Perfect. Both guys roll out of the way. Scorpio Sky turns into a clothesline, and he goes over the top for the first elimination.
Scorpio Sky eliminated by 911 is the first elimination. Wow, nice. I love it.
Butch Reed takes his shot. He lays a few shots to the 911. He hits the ropes, but catches a big boot, and Butch Reed also over the top rope. Second elimination by 911.
Wow.
Countdown clock again. Perfect and Martel are still down. Number 7 is Mil Muertes.
Well, we're getting some big beef in there now.
Yeah, we are getting a showdown pretty much. Everybody else is down. Muertes and 911 is a face-off. They're still like they're about to go at it, and Born Again pops up between them, kind of laughs and acts like this. He's not intimidated at all by either one. So they both decide to grab him by the throat and toss him over the top rope, double choke slam over the top rope for Bourne.
Oh, I love that. That's my favorite moment of the Rumble so far. That's awesome.
So these two start throwing punches, going back and forth a little bit, not too much before the clock is going again, and the familiar music of Samoa Joe hits. So the crowd is getting the real spectacle when it comes to badasses going at it here. We've got three top ones in this match going at it.
And where are Martel and Perfect? Are they still just kind of nursing their injuries here? And they kind of
They're
gotcha.
down in the corners, just kind of watching all this unfold and playing it smart because who wants to get involved in what's going on right now?
Great strategy. Good.
So we've got the 3-way battle of the badasses going on. Clock strikes, and number 9 is Cactus Jack to add to all this.
Holy cow.
Cactus Jack comes in, House of Fire on all guys, doesn't give a shit about who he's taking on. He's obviously not afraid of anyone, so we've got quite a brawl going on with big guys, a little bit of hardcore, a little bit of everything. All right, so those guys have their brawl, and then we're already at number 10, and at this point, the glass breaks, and Stone Cold Steve Austin enters all of this madness going on in the ring.
Wow, not a good draw for the legendary Steve Austin.
Nope, he's been in this similar position before, having to fight his way to the end. So here we go again.
So we have 7 guys in the ring now. We have Rick Martel, we have Mr. Perfect, we have 911, Mil Muertes, Samoa Joe, Cactus Jack, and now the fresh entrant, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Wow, that's a pretty imposing 7 guys right there.
Yep, and Stone Cold is not intimidated. Comes in, House of Fire, laying down stunners on everybody. Grabs Rick Martel, tosses him over the top rope, turns, flips off and stuns Samoa Joe, tosses him as well. He sees Cactus Jack and Muertes battling out in the corner, and Stone Cold heads over and dumps both guys together and clears the ring pretty much of almost everyone at this point.
So we have to ask, whose feet hit first? Was it Mil Muertes or was it Cactus Jack?
I'm going to say Cactus Jack.
Okay. Just so we have accurate records here.
Yeah. Always important here on the podcast. Number 11, we have Larry Zbyszko making his way to the ring.
Oh, Larry Legend.
He sees all the action going on right now, and he says, screw this, and doesn't even get in the ring, just hangs out at ringside and watches it all unfold because Austin's on fire right now.
Smart man. So right now, to recap, Austin, 911, and Mr. Perfect remain in the ring. Larry's just kind of walking on the outside right now.
Yep, he's making it clear he wants no part of it. So Austin now goes face-to-face with 911. This is a showdown, a stare-down. Pretty much 911 is not intimidated by Austin and vice versa. 911 grabs Austin for the choke slam. Austin reverses it, goes for a clothesline. Larry Zbyszko just in time pulls the rope down, and 911 goes over the top rope.
Wow. Oh, Larry's already making an impact and hadn't even entered the ring yet.
Yep, he's staying out. He's still not getting involved in this. So Austin's in the ring. Mr. Perfect's still laid out. He's doesn't want any part of this either. Austin's pretty much owned the match so far. And the countdown clock hits again. So number 12 hits the ring, and familiar music to ECW fans again as Enter Sandman blares throughout the arena. And, of course, Sandman doesn't make traditional entrances, so he's entering from high above in the rafters. And Stone Cold puts him on his radar right away as he makes his complete full Sandman entrance, which takes up the entire 2-minute interval. So Stone Cold is basically challenging the Sandman to hurry up, and Sandman does not. He makes his full entrance, and he barely gets to ringside when it's time for number 13 to make his way. And he loves to fight. Fit Finley hits the ring at this point.
Oh, no. Oh,
so we've got quite a showdown.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, hey, we know Stone Cold Steve Austin likes to drink. We know the Sandman likes to drink. And Fit Finley is Irish.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because during the time when Sandman was making his entrance, Stone Cold was calling beers from ringside, so he already has beers in the ring. Sandman, of course, has beers in his pockets, and now Finley joins in, so Austin calls for more beers, and we have an impromptu beer bash right in the middle of the Rumble.
I love it.
So as those three gather their beers in the ring, Larry Zbyszko finally decides to enter because, hey, he wants a beer too. So Larry Zbyszko, Fit Finley, the Sandman, and Steve Austin have an impromptu beer bash in the middle of our Rumble. And it's at this point that Larry Zbyszko finds out that he's not welcome to the party, catches a stunner from Stone Cold, and is tossed right back out of the ring and he's eliminated.
Wow. Poor Larry. And that makes Martel, Samoa Joe, Cactus Jack, Mil Muertes, and now Larry Zbyszko. So Austin has 5 eliminations already.
He's tearing it up. So now we've just got a fist fight with Stone Cold, Fit Finley, and the Sandman. They've drank beer. Now they want to fight. It's just, what else would you expect? They pretty much wear each other down at this point when number 14 hits the ring, and it's Dennis Condrey.
Wow.
So
the lover boy.
Yes. All 3 guys are down. Dennis Condrey pretty much just works all 3 over. Doesn't have to do too much. Nothing to worry about here. Number 15, the clock counts down, and Mil Mascaras hits the ring in the middle of all this.
He will not be drinking any cervezas, probably.
No. So pretty much every other guy in the ring is down, so we've got Mil Mascaras just jumping on Dennis Condrey. We've got an impromptu, pretty much one-on-one match going on, and Mil Mascaras hits all of his signature moves because that's what Mil does. And Condrey is the victim here until the countdown clock is up again. And back-to-back masked men as Lasertron makes his way to the ring.
So did Dennis Condrey, he's just getting beat up by Mil. He's not eliminated, correct?
No, he is not.
And then Mr. Perfect is still in the Rumble, just kind of hanging out under the turnbuckles or something in the corners.
Pretty much getting a shot in here or there, taking a shot here and there, but he's pretty much just knows what number he came in and what he's got to do to make it.
Gotcha.
So we get Lasertron and Mil Mascaras as the only 2 guys standing right now. So we've got a mask versus mask face-off. And, of course, Mil Mascaras just stiffs and beats the hell out of Lasertron because he just doesn't like having another masked man in the ring because Mil's the only masked man that matters.
True.
So just an ass beating. That's all we got right here. No more eliminations as of yet before number 17 hits the ring, and it's the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Wow. Flair and Austin and Mascaras in the ring together. That is crazy.
Yep. So we're picking things back up here. Pretty much just Rumble things, as you said earlier. Brawls going on left and right. Number 18, we have David Von Erich enter the ring, who comes in House of Fire on Ric Flair because that's what Von Erichs do to Ric Flair.
Yep.
pretty much that's pretty much all at this point. Number 19, we get another countdown. It's Tatsumi Fujinami, another Flair enemy, well-known enemy who hits the ring and also attacks Flair. So we've just got a one big brawl going on once again with a few guys starting to gather in the ring. Number 20, we get the countdown clock, and Sting hits the ring for the third.
Poor Rick.
Flair, the trilogy of Ric Flair beatdown going on right now. Sting hits Flair, gets his backdrop and a few signature spots in. Sandman decides to attack Sting from behind, gets a few shots in before Sting backdrops him over. So the Sandman, surprisingly probably stayed in longer than expected after a few beers, but Sting takes him right out.
He'll be able to get to the bar before the Rumble's over, so he's good.
There you go. I think he'll be all right. Number 21 hits the ring, and it's Stan Lane. Stan Lane gets in the ring, helps Condrey, make sure Condrey's protected. We have those two helping each other out. Not much else, still the brawl going on for the most part. Number 22, countdown clock, and Bret the Hitman Hart hits the ring.
So to recap for our fans, in the ring currently, we have Mr. Perfect, who came in at number 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who came in at number 10. We have Fit Finlay, 13, Condrey, 14, Mascaras, 15, Lasertron, 16, Ric Flair, 17, David Von Erich, 18, Tatsumi Fujinami, 19, Sting, 20, Stan Lane, 21, and Bret Hart, 22. So we have 12 guys in the ring right now. This is the most guys we've had in the ring in the Rumble so far. It is a true just brawl at this point.
Yep, that's what I wanted to see back when I was a fan of the Rumbles. I wanted to see as many guys in the ring as possible. So at least we're getting a little bit of that here. So Bret Hart hits the ring. The first guy that meets him is Mr. Perfect, his rivalry. Mr. Perfect finally finds himself standing up probably for the first time in a while. Him and Bret have a brief exchange. Bret ends up tossing Mr. Perfect. Perfect is gone from the match finally after the longest run we've seen so far.
Yeah, he would have been in there probably about 44 to 45 minutes so far. So big. Yep. That's a nice time in the Rumble.
Yep. So after he tosses Perfect, Austin turns into Bret Hart. Another big brawl, another feud. They go at it for a while and go off into their own corner. But before we know it, number 23 is on the way, and it's Ravishing Rick Rude. First guy Rude meets up with is Finlay. We have a legit tough guy battle going on there with Rude and Finlay. Ring is still pretty packed at this point. Number 24, the countdown clock again, and Tully Blanchard hits the ring.
So Flair gets some help.
Finally gets some help, yep. First guy Tully jumps on is David Von Erich. Flair jumps right in, and they dump David Von Erich right there. Fujinami is their next target. Both guys work him over. As they're doing so, Mil Mascaras sees this, goes to the dive to help, but he actually lands on Fujinami, and both guys end up going over the top. Wow. Fujinami and Mil both eliminated.
Whose feet hit first?
Mil, because he was doing the dive and
Gotcha.
He went backwards. So yeah, for numbers and record's sake. So at this point, Lasertron realizes that he outlasted Mil Mascaras and is thrilled about this. He acts like he won the entire thing because Lasertron outlasted Mil Mascaras in the Rumble, and maybe he is the best guy, best masked man in the Rumble, I guess, at least according to him. Mm-hmm. Number 25, which is a classic number. I think he drew this almost every time he was in the Rumble. Hulk Hogan comes in because that's the number he usually came in at, pretty much. So
wow.
Hulk comes in, House of Fire as usual, beating the hell out of everybody. Lasertron, fresh off of his own victory of outlasting Mil Mascaras, steps up to Hogan. Hogan picks him right up, slams him over the top rope. Lasertron's gone. Finlay jumps on Hogan, lays into him. Hulk is so fired up, he ends up clotheslining Finlay over, so he had 2 eliminations back-to-back there. Hogan's fired up looking for his next target, but he turns around into Steve Austin. Middle fingers in his face and a stunner, so Hogan is down due to Stone Cold.
So we have left in the ring right now Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Ric Flair just right out of the gate. We also have Condrey and Lane of the 2 different eras of the Midnight Express, as well as the Icon Sting, Bret Hart, Rick Rude, and Tully Blanchard. So that's a Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer type roster in the ring right now.
Yeah, and more on the way. All right, so number 26, we have Pedro Morales. Jumps in the ring, pretty much just old school battle royal style fighting from him. Not much else. That's pretty much how they did things back then.
He's trying not to leave his feet.
There you go. Countdown clock is up again, and The Rock hits the ring. another House of Fire entrance. Rock delivers shots to everyone pretty much around the ring, gets to Austin. They have a stare down and trash talk. Big moment there. The fans were hyped to see them go at it once again. But before they do, Hulk Hogan is back up, sneaks up behind Austin, and tosses him out.
Wow.
Little payback time.
Wow. So I think that's the money moment that everybody is waiting for. Once they heard me say that Austin and Hogan are in this Royal Rumble, there's the moment. Austin won the battle, but Hogan wins the war here.
There you go. Quite a story I'd like to see play out on an actual Rumble.
I know, right?
Number 28, we got Chris Jericho. We're getting toward the end here. Jericho enters. He sees Pedro Morales has Bret Hart on the ropes, almost to the point of elimination. He sneaks up and eliminates Pedro. So we might have a Canadian connection here, or so we think, because Jericho immediately turns on Bret Hart and just lays him out because that's what Jericho does. Countdown clock again, and Bobby Eaton is number 29, enters the ring and helps Lane and Condrey, all three guys, three members of the Midnight Express are in there. Major advantage there.
So right now, to recap, as we're about to get the 30th entrant, which I don't even know who it is, we have the full Midnight Express in there, Condrey, Eaton, and Lane now, with actually Condrey representing the lowest seed, or the lowest entrant, the 14th, and Eaton the freshest at number 29. We have Tully and Ric Flair, the Horsemen, there kind of helping each other out. We have Rick Rude and Bret Hart. We have Sting. We have Hogan and The Rock and Chris Jericho. So yeah, we have a pretty legit group here going into the final entrant. I mean, it's really anybody's game, whether it's one of the teams like the Midnight Express or the Horsemen, or, one of the past Rumble winners / legends like Hogan, Rock, Flair. It could be anybody. Maybe
the most full a Rumble has been at the end that there's been.
For sure.
The contender, yeah. So number 30, the clock hits. We've got a ring full of guys. The countdown clock is on. Everybody's anticipating this one. And maybe some not familiar music hits. Nobody's sure who this is. But apparently this guy thought that this Rumble was titled Battle of the Tough Guys because it's the return of Zeus.
Oh, no.
As he makes his way down to the ring, and maybe he's hoping to relive the no-holds-barred magic here.
He's going to try to get his first ever professional wrestling win. He's 0-5.
Wow.
So this will be Zeus's attempt to win. And what a match to win, to basically win, the defeat guys like Hogan and Flair and Sting and The Rock and, the Midnight Express and Tully Blanchard. Yeah. And Bret Hart. Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah. But we all know that Zeus's main purpose is just to kill Hulk Hogan.
Yes. And in Hulkamania.
Yes. So Hogan spots him. He spots Zeus. They go face to face, and of course Zeus goes to choke Hogan because that's his go-to move. Zeus just chokes Hogan. He's choking him out. It's just Survivor Series 1989 all over. Hogan is down, pretty much passed out, and Zeus pretty much acts like he's won the whole thing. He's posing and doing the whole thing. Battle of the Tough Guys. He won again. Maybe he doesn't understand the rules. We're not quite sure. As he turns to the rest of the group of the ring, The Rock has taken exception to this because he's the only Hollywood star in this match, and he has some choice words for Zeus. Apparently calls him Debo in this match because he, Hollywood. Why not? Let's see. The Rock throws a few punches at Zeus, and the rest of the guys in the ring totally just attack Zeus, toss him right out because the whole group, doesn't accept Zeus. He's not a wrestler. He's tossed right out. The Rock takes credit for all of it. The people love the trash talk and everything, but right in the middle of all this, Ric Flair out of nowhere sneaks up and dumps The Rock over the top rope as well.
Wow.
Out of nowhere.
Flair knows how to do that. I mean, he's done it before.
There you go. So at this point, we see the group of guys have pretty much split. We have Flair, Tully, and the Midnights all together in a group. It look like they may be pairing up when they all spot Hogan still laying on the ground, choked out by Zeus, just like Survivor Series back in the day. They take their chance to get Hogan. They grab him and they toss him out. All five guys toss Hogan over the top rope, all due to Zeus's work.
Zeus, the lasting impact of Zeus can never be understated. Oh my gosh. So we'll call that the NWA 5 there, the Horsemen and Midnights eliminate Hulk Hogan.
Yes. So they are celebrating their victory, so to speak. But before long, they realize that they're not really a group. This is two different sides, the Horsemen and the Midnights. So that group breaks up immediately. They all start fighting with each other. So as the brawl goes on, Flair nutshots Condrey and tosses him over the top. Flair and Tully then go to double team Lane. Eaton makes the save on Lane, so he does not get eliminated, but Jericho sneaks over and dumps Lane. So Stan Lane goes out. He's eliminated as well.
Opportunistic Jericho.
There you go. Flair and Tully move on to Bret Hart. They try to toss him. Eaton sneaks up and dumps Tully as payback for the previous elimination. Then we get Rick Rude and Bobby Eaton are battling in the corner. Eaton ends up getting dumped by Rude. So we have a final 5, I believe, of Ric Flair, Chris Jericho, Rick Rude, Bret Hart, and Sting.
Wow, yes, that is a crazy final 5.
Yeah, a lot of shenanigans toward the end, a lot of things to keep up with here. All right, so as we enter into the final 5, Jericho realizes that Hart won't team up with him since he already turned on him earlier, so he's going to try for Rude. That's his best bet. Rude and Jericho take over on Bret Hart and Sting. Flair steers clear. He obviously is waiting for his moment here. He's beaten down. Rude and Jericho stand tall, but Jericho again tries another turn. He tries to turn on Rude and toss him. Rude ends up blocking him, and he's pissed off. Rude and Jericho are on the ropes. Let's see. Jericho backdrops Rude to the apron at this point. Jericho goes for a springboard move where he's going to knock Rude off the apron, but Rude just sidesteps him, and Jericho's momentum carries him, and he hits the floor. So Jericho goes over based on his own attempt at a springboard on Rude.
Wow. Rick Rude, I mean, he came in he came in pretty late, number 23, but outlasting guys like The Rock and Hogan and everything. So, wow, good for Rick Rude. You always have one pretty big star that kind of makes it into that final 3 or 4 almost on every Rumble, and Rick Rude seems to be that guy with Rude, Hart, Sting, and Flair.
Yep, we're getting down to it. In the ring, Flair attacks Hart, and they have an exchange. Flair's getting the best of it. He obviously wasn't involved in the previous little brawl they had there. Flair's aiming for the figure 4, but as he does so, Rick Rude once again comes up and tosses Ric Flair as he's about to hit the figure 4, so Flair goes out by Rude.
Wow, Rude might be the MVP here.
Could be. Rude is worn down against the ropes after all these eliminations, pretty much, so Bret Hart and Sting are going at it. Rude makes his way over to them. He's nailing both. Sting stumbles back from the other 2. He goes for the Stinger splash on both. Rude ends up moving. He hits Bret Hart with it, with the Stinger splash, but Rude ends up dumping Sting. So again, Rick Rude is on fire here. At this point, we're down to 2. Bret Hart starts working over Rude. He's trying to set up an elimination. Bret Hart goes for the charge on Rude. Goes for the high cross body. They both end up going over the top rope.
Oh, no.
But Rude is the only one to hang on, and Ravishing Rick Rude ends up as the winner of the first ever Dream Card Rumble.
Holy, I love it, man. I love it. I think everybody was probably thinking it was going to be Hogan or Austin or Flair or Sting or maybe The Rock. But yeah, Ravishing Rick Rude gets his due. He has won a Rumble match, like I said, on an untelevised show back in 1988, but wow, what? And not only did he win, he eliminated Sting, Bret Hart, Ric Flair, kind of Chris Jericho, and Bobby Eaton. I mean, he did some damage here.
Yeah, I think a guy who's worthy of winning, and obviously no one could argue his toughness. So he had that. He had the stamina going in, and somebody that hasn't really won a big Rumble before, but pulled it off this time with so many names involved. It was could have gone many, many different ways.
I love it. Yeah, this is a great Rumble. I'll tell you, Donnie, some of the moments in here were amazing. I hope our fans enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Like from the Born Again's moment to the kind of NWA 5 coming together to the impromptu, beer bash in the ring, everything. This is a perfectly booked Rumble. This is awesome. I would pay every dollar I've ever earned in my entire professional life to be able to watch this Rumble. This is awesome. And I think everybody was booked how you would think they would be booked. Nobody was made to look like a chump here. And I think it's all believable. I mean, that's guys like Mil Mascaras would have been hard to book. And I think he did a good job of how he eliminated himself and stuff. And then of course, Zeus being number 30 was the highlight of the show. And, he's just going to choke Hulk Hogan no matter what happens. So I love that part.
Yeah. I think it was reminiscent of what you'd see from Zeus back in the day. That's pretty much what he was limited to. Chokeholds and big entrances, that's about as far as it went.
And of course you had like some of the guys that lasted a really long time. I would say like probably Mr. Perfect and Dennis Condrey probably had the longest runs in it. So that's very believable. Both of them are good stamina, hard workers, smart guys. Like I can see that as well. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. We loaded this thing with, you picked some major names in there. So getting a few that were able to last the test of time, like I said, it could have gone many different ways.
Well, cool. We're excited to keep doing these Dream Card series. We hope you like them. I think they're really fun. It just shows off the wrestling knowledge of my co-host here, Donnie Mueller. So I'm really pumped about doing the next ones. Maybe we can do a Survivor Series or maybe more of just a themed card, some dream matches of that ilk, and something maybe that's not as heavy of a lift as this one. This was a great one, though. So, Donnie, thank you again for doing this. And I hope our WLS fans enjoyed it as much as I did listening to it here on the other end of the podcast. So with that being said, Donnie, do you mind if you have enough energy left in you after this amazing random rumble to tell everybody how to find us on social media?
You can follow us at WLS Podcast or search Wrestling Life Support.
Awesome. And guys, as always, please like, subscribe, leave us a positive review. It means a lot to us here at the Wrestling Life Support Podcast. And like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. This was fun for us. Hopefully it was fun for you listening. I'm Jay Lauderdale. Joining me as always is wrestling historian and Rumble Booker extraordinaire, Mr. Donnie Mueller. We'll catch you next time. See you later. Be good, be safe, and wash your hands, all that good stuff. See you from the Wrestling Life Support Podcast. Bye, guys.